Power does not flow to those who make themselves common. It is drawn to those who understand that the currency of command is rarity, and that too much presence breeds contempt. A ruler who is always visible becomes a mirror in which others see only themselves. They begin to mistake access for equality, familiarity for strength. And in that confusion, your authority dies quietly, like a flame starved of air. To lead is to ration yourself. Your words, your face, your favor, all must be measured as one would ration water in a siege. Appear rarely, but with weight, so that each glimpse of you strikes like a hammer and echoes in the corridors long after you have withdrawn. The hunger for you must never be satisfied. Let them imagine, let them yearn, let them grow desperate for your presence. That desperation is a leash. If you make yourself abundant, they will consume you, and once full, they will look for something new to devour. Men are creatures of appetite, and leaders who mistake this for loyalty are the first to be betrayed. Scarcity sharpens desire. Absence writes myth into the spaces you leave behind. Consider this. The sun rises each day, and though it gives life, no one worships it. But a comet that cuts the sky once in a generation is feared, studied, adored. To endure in power, you must be a comet, not a sun. Let others be predictable. You must become a rhythm they cannot count, a silence they cannot read. Appear only when the ground is soft for your tread, when the winds are in your favor. Then vanish again before they can take your measure. Every court, every cabinet, every company is a stage, but the most dangerous role is that of the man always performing, always present, always dancing for approval. Invisibility is a weapon. Withdraw, and your absence becomes a canvas on which they paint their fears and hopes. You control the brush by doing nothing at all. This is the art of command, to let others believe they are drawing you closer, even as you are pulling them into your orbit. The crowd's love is fleeting. Today's applause will not save you when daggers are drawn. Do not mistake their cheers for devotion. They cheer because you are useful to their moment. The moment you no longer serve their needs, they will not only turn but delight in your fall. A wise ruler builds his power not on love, but on necessity. They do not have to love you, but they must believe they cannot live without you. Scarcity breeds necessity. Necessity breeds control. Never be so visible they feel they can live without you. Never be so present they believe they know you. Mystery is armor. Familiarity is exposure. Hold yourself like a fortress whose gates open rarely and only on your terms. Those who guard their presence command greater weight than those who squander it. A glance, a word, a silence, these are the tools of power. Make them thirst for you. Make them unsure. Make them wait. Withdraw not because you are timid, but because you are shaping their hunger into a weapon. Appear rarely, but when you do, appear as if fate itself has turned its gaze upon them. The leader who is everywhere is respected nowhere. The leader who is scarce is feared, desired, and obeyed. Scarcity is not retreat, it is strategy. It is the art of remaining untouchable in a world that seeks to consume you. To rule is not to give yourself freely. It is to become the thing they cannot have, too often the thing they cannot replace, the thing they cannot destroy, because they never fully possess it. Never be seen too much. Scarcity builds power. Scarcity is not merely the absence of presence. It is the cultivation of distance, the construction of an aura that no hand can quite touch. To rule is to master appearances, and appearances are most powerful when they are incomplete. A man fully revealed is a man fully measured, and what can be measured can be overcome. Mystery is the soil in which awe grows. Let them glimpse enough to believe they understand you, but never enough to confirm their suspicions. The shadows around you must be as carefully crafted as the light. The hunger for power begins not in the masses, but in the few. The ambitious courtiers, the restless generals, the whispering ministers. It is they who will destroy you if you do not hold them in check. And yet, holding them too close breeds contempt. Keeping them too far invites rebellion. The balance lies in granting just enough favor to bind their loyalty, while withholding enough to keep them striving. A man who still desires from you is a man you still control. Satiate him, and his desire will wander elsewhere. Frustrate him, and his energy remains tied to you, for he cannot rest until he has what you withhold. Fear is the truest cement of power, not the crude terror of a tyrant whose cruelty is clumsy and unmeasured, but the subtle fear that lives in uncertainty. When they do not know what you will do, they tread carefully. When they cannot predict your next move, they hesitate. And hesitation is the space where you strike. Love fades, but fear endures. A ruler who is loved but not feared is fragile. A ruler who is feared, even in love, is secure. Never deceive yourself with the comforts of virtue. The world does not reward goodness unless it is useful. Mercy is a weapon only when it serves your design. Otherwise, it is a weakness they will exploit. The same is true of honesty. Speak the truth only when it advances your aims. Lie without hesitation when deception serves you better. To rule is not to live by ideals, but to wield them as tools. The lion terrifies with its strength, but the fox survives with cunning. Be both, or be neither. Betrayal is inevitable. Do not rail against it. Expect it. Prepare for it. Understand that loyalty is not a natural state. It is an arrangement born of self-interest. As long as your power aligns with their ambitions, they will kneel. The moment it does not, they will seek your ruin. Forgive nothing, forget nothing, but disguise both behind a calm face. Patience is the ally of vengeance. Strike when the memory of their treachery has faded in their minds and your blade feels least expected. A ruler undone by betrayal was undone first by their own negligence. The theater of leadership demands masks. There is no room for the raw self in the arena of power. Strip it away. Assume the mask that fits the moment. The benevolent father, the iron-fisted commander, the cunning negotiator. Change masks as the play requires, but let no one see the actor beneath. The moment they do, the illusion fractures, and with it, your command. Even solitude must be cultivated carefully. Those who retreat into themselves without purpose rot in exile. Those who withdraw strategically prepare the ground for return. Ambition is both the engine and the snare. It drives you forward, but unchecked, it blinds you to the terrain. A wise ruler advances as a general would, scouting every hill, testing every bridge, weighing every risk. Rashness invites catastrophe, but timidity surrenders the field. The art lies in movement that feels inevitable to all who watch. When you strike, it must seem as if the world itself bent to your will, as if your victory were ordained. Control is not absolute. No ruler commands everything, and those who try shatter under the weight. The key lies in commanding what matters and allowing lesser things to flow as they will. Power is like water. Grasp too tightly, and it slips through your fingers, but channel it wisely, and it carves rivers through stone. Choose your battles. Win those that shape the flow of all others, and you will not need to win them all. The machinery of power is cold because it must be. Sentiment clouds judgment. Attachment distorts clarity. You must learn to sever, cleanly and without hesitation, that which threatens your stability. A disloyal friend, a faltering minister, a rebellious vassal cut them away like a diseased limb, not out of cruelty, but out of necessity. Delay, and the rot spreads. Act swiftly, and the body survives. A ruler's solitude is different from the solitude of the exile. It is not the loneliness of abandonment, but the stillness of the eye of the storm. You must walk alone even among allies. No one else carries the weight of command. No one else stands exposed to every dagger, every whisper, every shifting wind. You are alone because only you see the whole field, and in seeing it, you understand that even your closest confidants see only a corner. Their loyalty is conditional, their advice is partial, their love is fleeting. This is not despair, it is clarity. To see men as they are greedy, fearful, ambitious, easily swayed is not to despise them. It is to understand the pieces on the board. They act as nature compels them to act. Your task is to guide, constrain, and direct, not to transform. The idealist who dreams of reshaping human nature into virtue will drown in disappointment. The realist shapes human weakness into strength, bends fear into obedience, and forges loyalty from necessity. Withdraw when you must, appear when you must. Let your silences speak as loudly as your proclamations. Remember always, you are not a man among equals. You are the axis on which the wheel turns. To forget this is to invite your own destruction. You are the architect of scarcity. You are the orchestrator of appearances. You are the keeper of fear, the weaver of loyalty, the sculptor of ambition. To lead is not to serve the people's hearts, but to command their actions. Hearts are fickle, actions endure. Never be seen too much. Scarcity builds power, and power, once seized, must never be relinquished, for power is the only shield against the chaos that waits beyond the gates. The ruler who survives is the one who understands that power is never static. It is a current, restless and shifting, flowing through the veins of men's fears and ambitions. To hold it is not to clasp a treasure in your hands, but to ride a river that would drown you if you cease to steer. The naive imagine power as a throne, a fixed and glorious seat. The wise know it is a battlefield, fought anew each day with weapons both visible and hidden, and the first weapon is perception. Perception is reality. It does not matter what you are, it matters what they believe you to be. The strong who are seen as weak will be tested. The weak who are seen as strong will be deferred to. Truth is irrelevant in the theater of command. Only the illusion survives. The stage is yours, and the audience is restless. Some await your rise with hope, others with fear, others with daggers. You must give each what keeps them still. The hopeful must see a savior. The fearful must see a master. The treacherous must see an enigma, unreadable and dangerous. Never allow them to know you fully. What they do not know, they cannot predict. What they cannot predict, they cannot oppose. Those who crave adoration mistake the cheers of the crowd for strength, but applause is a shallow ocean. It vanishes with the next tide. Rulers who drown in it find themselves stranded when the waters recede. Do not seek love. Love is a chain that binds the ruler more tightly than the ruled. When they love you, they think they own you. When they fear you, they know they do not. Fear breeds caution, and caution keeps knives in their sheaths. Yet, fear alone is not enough. Pure fear hardens into hatred, and hatred festers until it boils over in rebellion. Fear must be balanced with the scent of reward. Men must not only fear your wrath, they must crave your favor. They must dream of what you can grant and dread what you can take away. You must stand as the source of their hopes and the arbiter of their fears. That is the fulcrum of control. Control, once established, must be defended relentlessly. Every concession weakens your position. Every show of uncertainty emboldens your rivals. Do not imagine that power rests on goodwill, on treaties, on laws. These are paper shields. Power rests on your ability to act swiftly and without hesitation when challenged. The hesitation of a single moment invites the predator's strike. To rule is to be ready to crush opposition before it grows teeth. Observe the ambitious carefully. Ambition is fire, small, it warms and serves. Unchecked, it burns your house to the ground. Favor those whose ambitions align with yours. Distract or destroy those whose ambitions diverge. Never let a subordinate grow so powerful that he no longer needs your shadow. Great men in your service are assets, only if they remember they are not your equals. When they forget, remind them or remove them. The leader's greatest danger is not from enemies abroad, but from allies at home. Enemies declare themselves. Allies conceal their discontent behind smiles and oaths. You must assume betrayal as a constant possibility. Trust no one completely. Rely on no single man absolutely. Divide your advisors. Let no faction grow too strong. Balance their rivalries so that they watch one another more closely than they plot against you. Unity is dangerous in those below you. so division as a gardener prunes branches. Exile is the final education of a ruler. In exile, you see the world stripped of illusion, your former allies gone, your enemies emboldened, your name spoken with either pity or derision. Here you learn the truth. Power does not belong to you. It never did. It belongs to the forces you command: fear, ambition, loyalty, deception. Without them, you are nothing. Rebuild them, and you rise again. The ruler who returns from exile understands scarcity, not as strategy but as necessity. He has learned to ration himself not as a luxury, but as survival. Every gesture must be measured, every word weighed. Speak too freely, and they will use your words against you. Remain silent too long, and they will write their own narrative in the void. Speak rarely, but when you speak, let your words fall like iron gates, closing off all debate. Your silences must feel deliberate, not weak. Your presence must feel rare, not absent. Appear only to remind them who commands the stage, and then vanish before they tire of you. The modern ruler faces not a single court but 1,000 eyes, each carrying a voice, each voice carrying a weapon. In this world, visibility is vulnerability. The more they see you, the more they think they know you. The more they think they know you, the easier you are to destroy. Guard yourself as a fortress guards its inner keep. Let them circle the walls. Let them speculate about what lies within, but never let them breach the gates. In the theater of statecraft, the mask is more real than the face beneath. Forget the notion of authenticity. The authentic man is a slave to his impulses. The masked man commands his impulses as he commands others. You must become the mask so completely that even in private you are the ruler, not the man. The man is mortal, fragile, fleeting. The ruler, if he is careful, can outlast his own flesh. Power is not glory. It is not peace. It is not even freedom. It is the burden of constant vigilance, the art of navigating storms that never cease. To hold power is to sacrifice ease, to stand always at the edge of the blade. And yet, there is no higher calling for those who are born to command. Scarcity is your shield, distance is your weapon, mystery is your armor. Never forget this. Never allow yourself to become abundant, for abundance breeds contempt, and contempt breeds rebellion. You are not their friend, their equal, their possession. You are their ruler. Power is a living thing. It breathes through fear, feeds on desire, and dies in complacency. To sustain it is to accept a truth few dare to face. The ruler must be both the shepherd and the wolf. He must tend his flock carefully, but never forget that they are animals, and animals turn savage when hunger or ambition overtakes them. A shepherd who cannot bare his teeth is soon devoured. Scarcity is the essence of command. It is not mere absence, it is the art of withholding. To lead is to understand that every glance, every word, every moment of your presence must carry weight. To give too freely is to cheapen yourself. Familiarity breeds not loyalty but irreverence. A ruler too often seen is a ruler too often judged, and judgment is the soil in which rebellion grows. You must train your people to crave your presence and fear your absence. Appear as if you descend from a higher plane, not as a man among men, but as an embodiment of the state itself. When you arrive, let it be with precision and purpose, so that even your silences seem deliberate. When you withdraw, let the void you leave behind speak louder than any proclamation. The people must never feel full of you. They must always feel the hunger. To command is to understand that men are driven not by virtue but by appetite and fear. They will betray for gain. They will kneel for necessity. They will revolt if they believe they can win, and they will submit if they believe resistance is futile. Your task is not to reform their nature but to master it. Feed their hopes, stoke their fears, and bind them with both. This is the architecture of control. Rulers fall when they mistake friendship for loyalty. There are no true friends in power, only allies of convenience. A man may kneel today and strike tomorrow if the wind changes. Do not despise him for this. He is acting as nature compels him. Instead, arrange your power so that betrayal is never worth the risk. Let fear and reward intertwine like roots beneath your throne, so deep and tangled that none dare to pull them apart. The ruler's solitude is not an affliction but a necessity. A man who shares too much of himself shares too much of his power. You must become a mystery even to those closest to you. Let them see only fragments of your mind, never the whole. What they cannot see, they cannot predict. What they cannot predict, they cannot control. This solitude sharpens you. It teaches you to observe without sentiment, to judge without pity, to act without hesitation. In the end, you stand alone because only you can bear the burden of decision. Counselors may advise, soldiers may fight, ministers may govern, but only you hold the final responsibility. Only you will be blamed for failure. Only you will be remembered in victory or infamy. You must wear masks, but wear them well. In public, the mask of strength and certainty. In private, the mask of detachment. Even when you doubt, never show it. Even when you fear, never admit it. To reveal weakness is to invite attack. A ruler's authority is a fragile construct, held together by perception and fear. Let the mask become your second skin, until even you forget the man beneath it. The theater of power is relentless. Every gesture is scrutinized, every word weighed, every pause interpreted. You are always performing, and the audience is merciless. They will forgive cruelty if it brings stability, but they will never forgive weakness. Weakness invites chaos, and chaos is the ruler's true enemy. Control is not about holding everything in your grasp. It is about knowing which threads to pull. You cannot command every detail, nor should you try. Power lies in leverage, in identifying the few critical levers that move the entire machine. Focus your will on these, and let the lesser matters resolve themselves. A ruler who tries to rule all things rules nothing. The ambitious will always circle you, their eyes gleaming with hunger. Some will swear loyalty while plotting your downfall. Others will serve you faithfully, but grow restless as their power swells. Watch them all. Favor them enough to bind them, restrain them enough to weaken them. Never allow a single man to rise so high that he becomes indispensable. If he does, you have created a rival, not a servant. When the time comes to act, act decisively. Half measures breed contempt. Delay invites resistance. A blow struck late must be struck twice as hard. But a blow struck swiftly and without hesitation shatters opposition before it can take form. Let your enemies fear not only your strength, but your readiness to use it. Fear, once established, must be maintained with care. Too much, and they will conspire in desperation. Too little, and they will grow bold. Balance fear with hope, punishment with reward, cruelty with mercy, but always on your terms. Mercy given too freely breeds expectation, and expectation breeds entitlement. Grant mercy rarely, and let it seem a gift rather than a right. Do not imagine power as something you own. Power is a tide. It carries you forward so long as you steer it, but it will drown you the moment you grow complacent. You must be vigilant always, adjusting to every shift, anticipating every change. Those who believe their throne secure have already begun to fall. Scarcity is your armor, your weapon, your strategy. It is the art of making them need you, making them fear losing you, making them believe you are the axis of their world. A ruler too abundant is a ruler too replaceable. A ruler too visible becomes a man, and men can be judged, envied, assassinated. But a ruler who remains just out of reach becomes a symbol, and symbols endure where men perish. Never be seen too much. Scarcity builds power, and in power lies the only freedom a ruler will ever know, the freedom to act while others hesitate, to command while others beg, to shape the world before it shapes you. A ruler who seeks to endure must never forget. Time is both his greatest enemy and his most faithful ally. It devours kingdoms, erodes loyalties, and exposes every flaw. But it also grants the patient leader a weapon more subtle than steel: the ability to wait, to outlast, to let his enemies destroy themselves. Impulse is the weakness of the unseasoned. Restraint is the strength of the master. The world worships motion. It rewards those who rush forward, who speak first, who strike without hesitation. But speed without strategy is the weapon of fools. A wise ruler learns to move with the inevitability of the seasons unseen until the moment comes, then overwhelming and impossible to resist. This is why scarcity matters. It is not absence for its own sake. It is preparation. It is the gathering of storms over distant hills. By the time they see you coming, it is already too late. Those who surround you will demand your attention. They will clamor for guidance, for favors, for signs of affection. Give them only what serves you. To give more is to reveal that you need them, and a ruler who needs his courtiers is already their captive. You must invert this relationship. They must feel that every privilege they hold flows from your hand, that without you they are nothing. This belief binds them tighter than chains. Power is not kept by kindness. Kindness invites expectations, and expectations lead to resentment when they are unmet. Resentment festers and becomes sedition. A ruler must sometimes act cruelly, but he should never appear cruel for cruelty's sake. Let every act of severity seem necessary, even merciful, as if you wield the knife not with pleasure, but with the gravity of duty. They will fear you, yes, but they will also respect you, for men respect what they cannot escape. You will hear the voices of moralists urging you to govern with virtue, to win love through justice, to inspire loyalty through fairness. Understand this. These men speak as if the world were made of angels. You rule over men, and men are fickle, envious, deceitful, driven by fear and greed. They will love you so long as you gratify them, but when their interests shift, so will their hearts. Fear, on the other hand, anchors their behavior even when their hearts wander. A ruler who does not inspire fear will soon inspire contempt. Yet fear alone is a brittle instrument. A tyrant who rules by terror alone will find his subjects plotting in the shadows, waiting for the first sign of weakness. Fear must be tempered. It must be laced with hope, with the possibility of favor, with the sense that obedience brings rewards. Men will endure much if they believe there is something to be gained. Deny them all hope, and they will grow reckless. Leave them a glimmer, and they will police themselves. Do not imagine that loyalty comes naturally. It must be engineered. Divide your realm in such a way that no group, no family, no faction can grow strong enough to stand alone. Encourage rivalry among them, so their energies are spent watching each other instead of you. Then position yourself as the arbiter, the only one capable of holding the balance. In this way, even your adversaries are forced to depend on your authority. In the quiet hours of rule, when the noise subsides and you are alone with your thoughts, you may feel the temptation to set down the mask, to yearn for authenticity. Resist this temptation. The mask is no longer a disguise. It is your survival. Those who seek to show their true selves in power are soon stripped bare, their vulnerabilities displayed to all. And in the arena of power, to be vulnerable is to be devoured. Every leader has enemies. This is not a failing. It is inevitable. To govern is to disappoint, to punish, to deny. Enemies are the natural byproduct of action, but you must distinguish between those who grumble and those who conspire. The former can be managed, distracted, or placated. The latter must be crushed swiftly and without mercy. Let one rebellion succeed, and you will never sleep soundly again. Let none succeed, and your legend will deter others from even dreaming of defiance. Remember that men respect strength but worship inevitability. If your rule feels inevitable, if your authority seems ordained, they will obey even when they hate you. To create this impression, you must master the art of appearances. Let your victories seem effortless, your punishments unavoidable, your rewards generous yet calculated. Let every act suggest that resistance is not only dangerous but futile. Appearances matter more than truth. The leader who understands this wields a weapon sharper than any sword. The masses do not see your heart. They see only your shadow on the wall. Shape that shadow carefully. Let it be larger than life, and let it move in ways they cannot predict. Mystery multiplies power. A man fully known can be opposed. A man wrapped in mystery is feared, even in absence. Absence itself can be power. To disappear at the right moment leaves them restless, uncertain, longing for your return. To appear unexpectedly reminds them that you see more than they know, that you move beyond their comprehension. The ruler who is always present becomes a fixture, like the furniture of a room. The ruler who vanishes and reappears becomes an event, like a thunderclap. Scarcity is the architect of awe. Awe is the architect of obedience. Power is not eternal. You borrow it from the currents of the world, and one day they will turn against you. But if you understand the mechanics, scarcity, fear, reward, division, appearances, you can stretch that day far beyond the reach of most. And in that stretch, you can shape kingdoms, carve your name into the stone of history, and impose your will upon the chaos that consumes lesser men. This is the price of command: to remain apart even when surrounded, to distrust even when embraced, to act as if every day were a battlefield, because it is. Power, for all its grandeur, is never truly yours. It is borrowed from the fears and desires of others, built on their submission, sustained by their belief. The moment they cease to believe, the moment they cease to fear, it slips through your fingers like water. That is why you must never rest, never grow soft. Never mistake the silence of today for the security of tomorrow. The ruler's life is not one of peace. It is a ceaseless negotiation with human nature, a balancing of ambition and dread, love and hatred, loyalty and betrayal. You cannot afford the luxury of innocence. You cannot afford the comfort of trust. To lead is to stand alone on a narrow precipice, with chaos on every side and the abyss below. And yet, for those who can endure the solitude, for those willing to pay the price, there is no higher existence. You become not merely a man, but the axis upon which countless lives turn. You bend the currents of history. You shape the destiny of nations. In a world of fleeting lives and crumbling empires, you leave an imprint that lingers long after your bones are dust. But only if you remain vigilant. Only if you master the art of scarcity. Only if you are feared enough to be obeyed and desired enough to be indispensable. Never let them grow used to you. Never let them feel they have grasped you. Appear seldom, and when you do, let it feel like an act of fate, not routine. Withhold your presence until they ache for it, then give it sparingly, as a king offers a gift. You are not a friend. You are not a peer. You are not a man among men. You are the sovereign, the master, the unseen hand. Withdraw when they grow too comfortable. Return when they grow too restless. Always hold them in that tension between longing and fear. This is how you endure. This is how you rule. Scarcity builds power, and power, cold and merciless though it may be, is the only shield between you and the chaos that waits to tear the world apart. Never forget, the moment you let them see too much, the moment you let them feel too close, you are no longer a ruler. You are a man. And men are expendable. Be scarce, be feared, be obeyed, or be forgotten.